folks, so today's video is day 4 in my using a palette for a week series. Of course, I'm using the Metal Matte from Kat Von D. Today I've created a look using contrasting colors in that sort of halo effect. So I wanted to come up with something a little bit more odd, a little bit more weird. Odd. That's my channel name, guys. I decided to use contrasting blue and orange in there and come up with this sort of halo eye. Actually really simple to use, and again, I use my technique that I always use, which is use your fingers with metallics. It's like my main tip that I always use. So yeah, if you guys want to know how to achieve this look, then just stay tuned and here's the tutorial. So this look is a little more complex than the ones that I've done the last couple days, but I kind of just wanted to fuck around, just sort of play around and see what kind of interesting things I can do with this. So as usual, I'm covering up my lid with bone. And this is something that I do in like the majority of eyeshadow palettes that I own. If it has a lighter shade that's close to my skin tone, I use that. If you guys watched my videos with the Master Palette by Mario, you'll know that there isn't actually a shade that matches my skin tone like this, but you got to see kind of how I worked around that. Next up, I'm going to go into Suede as well as Oak, and I'm going to darken up my crease with those. For me, those are the transition shades that I find work for me in this palette. First, I'm going to go in with Suede. Then I'm going to go into Oak. This is a beautiful brown shade. Like, I really like this brown a lot. This is going to darken up the outer corner. And then I'm also going to take that a little bit and I'm going to blend it kind of awkwardly. I was playing around with placement, but I wanted to blend it right in that sort of inner corner area and bring that up sort of towards my brow. So next I took my brush and went right into Velour, which is this blue. And I find this blue funny. It's not super pigmented if you're using it as like a blending shade. It's not going to come off like as bright blue as that is. It kind of just dusts over and makes things slightly blue. And so I'm just picking a little bit of that up and I'm just going to dust that just sort of on top of the brown that we put there. And then I'm just going to take that big fluffy brush that we used before and just sort of use that to blend everything out. Alright, next I'm going to take a flat synthetic brush. I'm going to wet that with Fix Plus and I'm going to go into Nebula, which is this beautiful blue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this both on the inner corner as well as the outer corner of my eye. And I'm going to leave the middle of my eyelid blank because I'm going to go in with that other color. And then while I have that brush, I'm also going to place that just right underneath the eye. And then with a different synthetic brush, I'm going to do the same thing, spray it with a little bit of Fix Plus. And then I'm going to go into Flash. And this I'm going to apply right in between the blue. Next I'm going to use fingers as usual. I'm going to go into the dry part of that eyeshadow in both Flash as well as Nebula. And I'm going to do a little bit of blending with my fingers. So first off, I'm dabbing the eyeshadow right on top of Flash. You can see that really pulls the orange. And then very lightly blending that into Nebula. Then I'm going to take the finger that has Nebula and pack that on top, blend that back and forth basically. And this is, I find, the easiest way to blend metallics. Again, you can use whatever technique that you like, but this works for me. Also going to do the same technique just right underneath the eye and just pressing that eyeshadow right in. Makes it a little bit more pigmented as well. I've mentioned this before. If you press dry eyeshadow on top of a wet application, it really makes it pop. And then lastly, I'm just taking another finger. I'm going to go into Ignite. This is the Seafoam Green shade right here. Taking a little bit of that. That's going to go right on the inner corner. So the shade that I have right in here. And I'm just going to apply that. Press it, and then I'm going to blend it in with Nebula on the inner corner. And then I wanted to make that even more interesting, so I took my pinky And I went into Flash and I took just a little bit of it and I pressed that just right in the center of that seafoam green. Just to add a little bit of gold right in there. I'm not sure how well it translates on camera. And then I'm just gonna step back and look straight center into my mirror and see which parts aren't exactly even, and I'm just going to blend that out accordingly. All right, so then for the rest of the eye, I'm just gonna do a coat of mascara. I'm gonna show you how I finish up the rest of the face. All right, so I went ahead and applied mascara. Now this is another look that I feel like just leaving your natural lashes works best, because you get to see sort of the maximum amount of lid space, especially with all the work that you did there, and you really get that effect of having that sort of halo eye or whatever it's called. I also really like the effect it gives using the contrasting colors. That's one thing I wish there was more of in this palette, is you do have such a wide range of colors, but there's not too many things in here that contrast each other. Obviously the biggest contrast here is the sort of orange shade and the blue. I also feel like the copper and the green would look really well together as well. There's not anything in here that's too dramatic, like a red and a green, or like a bright orange and a green, and that kind of thing. So if you're wanting to do more of a contrasting look, I feel like this is one to use both that blue and that orange shade. Alright, so for the rest of the face, for contour, I'm just using the Shade Light Eye Palette, dipping into that middle shade. And then for blush, I'm actually just going into this peach shade, even though it's an eyeshadow. Whatever. When I don't want any shine on the cheeks, I can't say shine, cheeks, oh god. So when I want a matte blush, that's the kind of shade that I like to use. You might as well just use what's there. And then for highlight, I've decided to go into Kat Von D Thunderstruck. Mine obviously broke, as has everyone else's at this point. Apply that to the cheekbones. Alright, so then for lips, I've decided to go with an orange. I feel like just an orange contrasts the blue. For this, again, you could do a nude lip. I think a black lip would look really cool with this. Yeah, but I'm gonna go with an orange today just because, I don't know, I want to. We'll see what it looks like. Alright, so this is the finished look with the lip. The lip color is Makeup Monster's Cornucopia, which is this kind of like pumpkin spicy orange. Obviously entirely up to you if you want to do this sort of eye and lip. I think a nude would honestly look a little bit better, but this sort of takes it into it being a little bit more carnival, which I like. So whatever. I mean, I have green hair, like, let's get real here, guys. But yeah, that is day 4 in my Metal Matte series. I'm starting to realize what this palette's strengths and weaknesses are, so definitely be sure to stay tuned for the review after tomorrow's video, just because I'm starting to realize sort of how these shadows work and how they work together. That's why I like using them every day, because you get to find out sort of what that breaking point is and what you can get out of a palette. Yeah, so hopefully you guys like this look. Let me know if this is something that you do, that you would recreate, and let me know if this color combination is too weird for you, because in my opinion, nothing's too weird. So hopefully you guys enjoy this look, and until my next one, I'll talk to all you soon. Bye!